Good evening, everybody. My name is Todd Scholl. I am the lead learner at the South Carolina Education Association Center for Educator Wellness and Learning. We call ourselves COOL. So be cool. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter at Be Cool. That's CEWL. And you can find the website at cool.us. That's CEWL.us. I want to give a big shout out to all the educators down in Berkeley and to everybody who went down to the board meeting and spoke up on behalf of educators at that Berkeley County School Board meeting. And thanks to everybody who's connected with the SCEA and the Berkeley County Education Association, that local, Cat Lowe, and I know Sherry East was down there, Tim Myers, and several others from the SCEA and from the BCEA. I just want to give a shout out and let you know that I wish I could have been there. My heart's with you, and we'll continue to support and advocate for you and for all the educators there in Berkeley County. I want to also wish you happy holidays as we get close to the holidays. I know some of you are getting ready to get off for break, and congratulations on that. I hope you guys get some wonderful rest and relaxation and great times with your family and friends. Tonight, I'm really excited to bring to you somebody who is highly recommended by multiple people. You know, he's one of those people that you hear about, and I've just never met him. And so I was so thrilled when he agreed to come on the show. He is a lead site coordinator with communities and schools of South Carolina in the Upstate Region. Communities and Schools of South Carolina is the leading provider of social emotional supports in South Carolina, reaching 24,500 students across 39 school sites in 7 South Carolina counties. He was born in Mexico. He immigrated to Greenville, South Carolina at the age of 4 and lived his whole life in Greenville. He graduated from Furman University with a Bachelor of Science in Health Science. Being an undocumented DACA recipient, he uses his passion to empower others through developing one-on-one relationships with his students, empowering them to set goals and achieve their goals, promote success within the school and surrounding community. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please welcome José Morales-Martinez. How are you doing tonight, Jose?
Pretty good, Todd. Thank you for the invite. I really appreciate those kind words, and wow, the fact that there's a lot of people who recommended me to come in here and talk with you, that just speaks levels. It does warm my heart.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard your name and I've heard about communities and schools, and I felt like it was really important for us to connect and for people to learn more about your important work. I think there's a lot of crossover between what you're doing and what I'm trying to advocate for here on behalf of educators. And I know the SCEA is proud to support, community schools and to support the social emotional type of work that you're involved with. Let's first of all talk about your background. So how did you get involved in the education world?
Well, so it all goes back when I was back in Mexico. A little fun fact about me is that in Mexico, my family is from the circus. My dad's side of the family are all circus performers. My dad was an animal tamer, a acrobat, and a clown. And somehow he met my mom, and I was born in Mexico City, but traveled with the circus for about 4 years until my mom decided that this life wasn't the best for us, and she already had family in Greenville. So we basically, the immigration story, packed our stuff, crossed the desert, couple states, and ended up here in Greenville. And as a kid growing up in South Carolina, well, especially as a Hispanic, you don't really, during that time, the Hispanic population was very limited. I remember going to preschool, elementary, middle, and high school, and I was usually the only Hispanic in my class. But the reason how I got into education is that my mom, as a kid, always told me that if you really want to succeed in life, if you really want to get out of the situation, the life that you're living right now as a kid, the education is the key.
Right.
In our countries, we value education. We see teachers as doctors, as lawyers, like at that high level, because to be an educator, to be a teacher, to teach these kids takes a lot of courage, it takes a lot of perseverance, it takes a lot to, just to care for these students as one of your own. So just that whole deep in focus of education as a kid, trying to do my best to make sure that I had the greatest grades so I can achieve highest opportunities. And that kind of fueled me, just also meeting great people, my coaches, my soccer coaches, my teachers, who also just like saw something in me and motivated me to do better. That led me somehow into this path. Originally I wanted to be a doctor, but with the nonprofit, with all the work, all the community and volunteer stuff, volunteer work that I would do as a high schooler and as a college student, somehow kind of led me to this path of education. People say I'm a teacher, but in reality, I feel like I'm not an academic teacher, but I am a teacher of life for these students. I share my story with them. I, show them that there are other paths. Their past does not mean who they are. It doesn't define who they are. It's what they do with it, and they just develop their own stories so that they can achieve more in life.
Yeah. I think that's something that a lot of us who are doing this work have in common, is we see the importance and value of a strong public education system because of the opportunities that it provides for people. And those of us who've come from families where, we weren't just given things, where the public school provided opportunity for us to rise up out of poverty or out of a lower middle income situation, and to get an education, to go to college, and to secure a great career and a great life. I mean, we see that and we value that, and we want that for others. We want to protect that opportunity for others. And this is why the SCEA is so instrumental in pushing back against voucher schemes and privatization schemes, because we see that as a threat to the opportunities that public schools, provide for people. So thank you for sharing that background. For those of us who are new to communities and schools, talk about what that organization is about, what it is they're trying to do, like what's their mission, and the day-to-day kind of things they're involved with.
So community schools is actually a nationwide initiative. There's about, like, every state at least has a community schools organization or affiliate. We are the nationwide largest provider of student tier supports, whether it comes from, when I say student tiers, like we basically not investigate, but meet with the student, meet with the families, and see what kind of supports this student can use to better themselves, not only in school, but also in life. I always use the invisible backpack theory. Students come to school with 2 backpacks. One backpack carries all their school supplies, their notebooks, their pencils, things that basically gets them situated and ready for their classroom. On the other back side, you have the backpack, the invisible backpack, that carries all the things that go on, the traumas, the worries, that if they're gonna eat that night, if their parents are gonna make it back home, things that are keeping them from actually paying attention in classroom, that leads to high absences, low performing grades, or even just a rebellious kind of behavior incidents. So with community schools, what we do as a site coordinator, we help take off that invisible backpack so the student can focus in school, so they can focus on their classroom assignments, so they can focus on joining that sports team or being in the band or just being a kid and enjoying school. One of our site coordinators down in the Midlands referred to us as like, well, Cinderella has fairy godmother. Students in the community schools have a site coordinator. We are those people that the students can come to. We don't judge them. We just see you. I mean, sometimes we get the bad students. I don't believe any students bad. They just have things that are going on that's just a cry for help for them.
Yeah.
So I tell them that, look, I know this is what you're acting like. I don't care. I don't care if they call you a bad student. I don't care if this stuff. I only care about your well-being and making sure that you have someone that cares about you in school and wants to see you succeed. And
Right.
if you gave up on yourself, I'm not going to give up on you. I'm not going to give up on you until we reach your goal.
Yeah. It's that's powerful. And I think that is such an important sort of dynamic for us to move into in our public schools is to get away from the idea that there's good kids, bad kids. There's just kids that are responding to, in a human way, to whatever it is they're going through. And it could be biological, it could be chemical, it could be, like you said, the environmental, something happening at home or in the community. And the idea that I've always said, the idea that the people have this judgmental attitude about it, this is why, we judge each kid as if they're exhibiting these behaviors as bad. And you just wonder, like, well, if you had the exact same DNA and went through the exact same set of experiences that this human being did, what makes you think that you would be doing anything differently? It's just it's a matter of sort of causes and conditions, and it doesn't mean that they don't have control or ownership over decision making. But we have to take away, I think, moving away from this judgmental labeling kind of attitude and move towards a more curious, compassionate way of viewing the human experience, I think will get us to solving these things for young people and getting them to untangle what it is that's going on with them. And I love the fact that you're saying, it's not really about fixing a child. It's really about taking away the things that are preventing them from having that success.
Yeah, and one thing that I've kind of throughout my years with community schools, I found out is that a lot of the adults that we also work with, whether it be parents or teachers, admin, members in the community, we also are still kids ourselves deep inside. Have you heard about that, like the internal kid that you have inside that is still holding on to those past events, whether it be someone that made fun of you back in 5th grade or that incident that happened, what you get to call the police, all that, like you still internalize that trauma, and yet you haven't given yourself or that kid inside you the permission to let go. Let go of that frustration, let go of all that sadness, let go of all that. And that's always one thing I keep in mind every time I interact with any of these students and any of our adults, is like, I know that you still have that internal kid in you. Don't lose it. Stay true to yourself, because we're, at the end of the day, we're all human. We all want to be heard. We all want to be loved. We all want to be hugged. Right. Sometimes things that go on in our own life kind of push us away from that. But I feel like we just have to kind of return into that. Like, let's talk to that 5-year-old Todd. Let's talk to that 5-year-old Jose. Would that person be proud of who you are today? And if not, what can we do to make sure that that 5-year-old, that 10-year-old inside you is proud?
Right. That's powerful. Yeah. Talk about some of the specific things. I know you mentioned stuff, but like, give me a specific example, like, of things you guys have been doing like this past month. I know you mentioned before we went on, it's been a very difficult, challenging time of year with the holidays coming up, and a lot of kids who are struggling. This is a 2-week period of time where a lot of families, it's like a celebratory time of like, hey, I get 2 weeks off of school and I'm going to get to go home and have all this fun with my family. And then there's some other young people where this is a particularly this may be a problematic period of time. So I brought up a lot there, but
yeah, well, man, I can definitely brag about everything that I've accomplished at my site, but I also want to highlight a lot of things that a lot of other site coordinators have done. I mean, community schools here in the Upstate region, we serve 9 public schools in Greenville County Public Schools in the White Horse Corridor. So all these schools, there's three elementary, 3 middle, and 3 high schools, and all those students live in that White Horse Corridor. From Berea Elementary, Alexander, and Welcome Elementary, Berea Middle, Lakeview Middle, Tanglewood Middle, Berea High, which is my school, Caroline Academy, and Greenville Early College. So all of our site coordinators have done such phenomenal work throughout this, not from the beginning of the school, even throughout the summer. We start to making those connections with the families, re-engaging with them. How's your summer? What happened? Do you need help? Did anything come up that we could assist you with? Can we align you back into this and that? And to the holiday season. So like one of our elementary site coordinators started a garden, a social emotional learning garden, to teach kids how to garden, but also incorporating social emotional teachings. One of our middle school site coordinators started an anime club. Kids love anime. I love anime as a kid, but she incorporates social emotional learning of how these characters in these animes go and triumph through their own internal struggles or the outside struggles in the world that's keeping them from achieving their goals. One of our other site coordinators did a community breakfast at the high school level, did a community breakfast, inviting local churches, inviting other organizations, so that the parents who attend and the families who attend this can realize the resources that we have inside here. One thing that I personally want to brag about at our school is predominantly Hispanic, like about 55 to 60% Hispanic. In COVID, you know, everything got a little bit wiped away from COVID. Kids were feeling lonely. One of the biggest things that I like to push is school climate. How can we get this school climate improved so these kids feel welcome to come back? Well, this was our second year, but during Hispanic Heritage Month, we had a whole month celebration, door banner competitions between teachers so they can decorate their doors of Hispanic influences, an art competition between the art departments of 100 influential Hispanic leaders, singers, musicians, that all led up to a week-long celebration where each individual day had a designated dress-up day, leading up to a huge school-wide ceremony, presenting the flags, cheering on, asking the students, if you hear the name of your flag or your country, elevate, let your voice be heard. We had a student-led performance. There was no teacher instructor. These ladies, incredible ladies, did a 5 Hispanic coordinated dance and perform it in front of the whole school. That got so much great attention that they got invited to 3 local elementary schools, in the elementary schools that these girls attended as kids, giving back and showing them their Hispanic pride. Now, as we got into the holiday season, we've coordinated where we have these kind of food box events where we partnered up with some local churches. They provide us some food. We ask the school which students need food assistance, kind of keep a running checklist, reach out to the parents and ask them, hey, do you guys need this? I heard could definitely benefit from this. We have this program going on every once a month. If you are more interested, I'll reach back out to you, continue it on. Where we also partnered up with Furman in their Hello Service Corp, where they gave us during the Thanksgiving and now the Christmas season, they give us a designated holiday food box for those parents. Now, as we got here now into Christmas season, we've partnered up with United Way and some other local nonprofits to help out with their Project Joy initiative and basically finding and identifying families who could definitely use gift assistance. Reach out to those families. How many kids do you guys have? What are their shirt sizes? What are their pant sizes? What is something that they would like to receive from for Christmas? Is it a little bit? Is it earrings, or is it cologne, or is it a Barbie dollars? And they sponsored a family. As the days go on, we receive the gifts. Reach out to the family members, ask them, your gifts are here. Are you able to come to the school, or would you like me to come and deliver it to your house? Because sometimes, we want to keep that self-respect for those families and make sure, and the students too, that they're not receiving the assistance. But at the same time, we want to meet those families and those students where they're at.
Right. I want to talk about the particular for undocumented students who are in our schools. I think I've known some folks who feel under this sort of constant threat and feel this sort of constant state of being hyper alert about that. And it's very frustrating from a human standpoint to think of people having to endure that, having to worry about that, constantly worry about that. And not only just worry about that, but then worry about having to hear in the community or on the news people speaking in such negative ways about other people's humanity. Talk about the ways that maybe that's being addressed through communities and schools, Because I hear what you're saying about people feeling like, well, I don't know that I want to go to the school and pick that stuff up or whatever. I mean, talk about some of the things that maybe aren't on the radar of folks who like, I haven't obviously never had to experience anything like that, but like what are you guys doing about that, and what are some things that maybe educators can do to help make that situation better?
Oh man, that's where my huge passion lies, because me being undocumented growing up and having that big cloud over my head, and then obviously President Obama doing the executive order for DACA and allowing me to actually continue living in the country that I grew up and love, and see my home, and to also go to college and now even work here, and get that little bit of feel of being a citizen while still having that, I'm still undocumented. Honestly, I call myself undocumented. I'm proud to be that, because I'm not going to let it define me. It encourages me and shows my commitment to serve my community and the Hispanics and the community. Now, what community schools and has done, we try to, we don't ask the students if they're undocumented or not. At the end of the day, they feel comfortable with us letting us know, or the family members let us know, hey, we're not from this country, but we would like to have some sort of help. So that's where we partner up with outside organizations like the Hispanic Alliance here in Greenville, who is a huge resource, a compass of huge resources that are mainly for Hispanics family members, especially helping out those who don't have a legal status. They can align them up with health care. They can align them up with a legal assistance. They can align them up with an education assistance. Now, not everybody takes that, but we try to encourage the family members and actually see if we can coordinate like a lunch and learn or a family meeting at our schools for the Hispanic Alliance to talk more about that, because they're the experts. They're the expert. They're more willing to talk about it than I am, because I try to align those resources for them. Now, in the education level, I've more into investigating myself. Well, what was the path that I took? Well, for undocumented high school students who want to achieve higher education, majority 9 out of 10 times here in the state of South Carolina, we cannot attend a public institution or receive financial aid, apply for FAFSA and all that. We have to go attend a private institution. Okay, well, let's see if we can contact these private institutions and ask them, what are the requirements, or what aid or what support do you guys have in your school that can help these students who have high GPAs, 3.5s to 5.0s. AP students they're involved presidents of their club, involved with the sports teams in the school. They want to do something more, but they have this cloud around them. How can you help us, or give me the information that I can relate? Or if you want to come, I'll invite you to the school so you can speak with these students, get that information out to them, and then also to their parents. Let them know, hey, like, if your student wants to achieve higher education, there's going to be that feeling where you relied a lot on your student to help you out with translation, help you out with all the other adult situations that you had to deal with where they were present. So getting them and kind of like letting them know about the situations, and hey, this might happen, or this is going to happen. Like, let your student focus on their higher education at the university. Now, when it comes to educators, the worst thing an educator can say is use that legal status and tell them, well, you're undocumented. I don't know if you can do it. Like, letting them know that the resources aren't there, because there are a lot of resources. It just takes the teacher to kind of not ask the student, because the students are asking for the help,
Right?
but to ask the other resources in the school, like the community school site coordinator of the school or the Hispanic Alliance. Ask them, hey, I have these students who are high achieving, but they have this going on. What information can you give me or educate me so I can tell these students, hey, this might be your path. It's going to be a hard one, but it's going to get you where you want to go.
Right. At least pointing them in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have these kids with such great potential, and making sure that they can see the pathway forward that they need to take, or the options that are available to them. I think that's so. So let's mention that again. So you not only communities and schools, but you said the National Hispanic Alliance. Is that what you said?
So it's not the National Hispanic Alliance. It's actually the Hispanic Alliance. It's a nonprofit here based in the Upstate. They also just started a branch of it down in the Low Country in Charleston. Okay. But Hispanic Alliance has been here even since when I first moved here from Mexico. I remember hearing the name about that. So, and it's a great organization that, really does try to elevate the Hispanic community and also educate educators. And we talked earlier about, we mentioned EJ and TJ.
Yeah.
EJ and Dr. Anderson and TJ Rumler, they're also huge advocates that are involved with the Hispanic Alliance. So, in this nonprofit world, we all know each other and we kind of help each other out wherever we can.
Yeah. And that's important for us to see that. That's every chance I get to see how we can collaborate, how my center can support other people's work, and then vice versa. It's, my work is really about supporting educators and like helping them get the resources they need to be successful, but not just for themselves, but also to connect, like you said, these resources with their students, just equipping them with the knowledge and information they need to be in the best position to help all students. Let's talk about the social emotional part. And I don't know how tapped in you are to the sort of education zeitgeist, how much you've been paying attention to like the Ellen Weaver campaign and things like that. But when you hear people talking about social emotional learning and they want to link it to Marxism, or they're talking about indoctrination that's taking place in our public schools, I don't know if if you've heard that, but when you hear this sort of conflation of social emotional learning with Marxism, which I still haven't figured out how they connect those dots. But like when you hear that, what are some of the thoughts you've had about sort of the prevailing especially over the past year? It seems to have accelerated and amplified this demonization of the teaching profession and what's happening in schools. You're in schools. What are you seeing, and what are your thoughts on that?
So that's probably the first time I've heard about that, how social emotional learning has been related to Marxism. In a way, I like to see both sides, and I can see where, but that just comes from a lack of awareness, a lack of ignorance, but not ignorance in a bad way. It comes from fear, like the fear of the unknown, and people not. One, also too, if parents want to talk about that kind of stuff, I think as anyone in the school would love for them to come to the school and see what kids are learning, or be involved and engage with their kids' PTA or school athletic, like anything like that. So get integrated with the school, so you get to know a little bit more what goes on.
Right.
As social emotional learning in general, it goes back to what I said earlier. At the end of the day, we're human. We want someone to hear us. We want someone to listen to us. We want someone to hug us and tell us, "I'm proud of you. I see you." All these kind of things that we wish as we learned as a kid. So I really try to tie more of that into that kind of thing. And even when I meet, and I guess in a way, like the schools that we work with don't really see that kind of outside influences from what is being said during and through social media, because the kids and the families that we work with are always in fight or flight mode. They're consistently worried about, or what are we going to do for tomorrow? Are we going to be able to eat, or am I have to use the money to pay rent or light assistance? Is my kid going to go to school? Or if they get a phone call from the school, are they calling me because my kid did this something, and yada yada yada. So that's more of the social emotional learning that we're trying to do and help mitigate and preventative care do with our families, not more of the what is the whoever in government is saying this about
Right.
learning in school.
I got you. So it's really more of a almost like this, like the philosophical political discussion's important, but what you're saying is our needs are so urgent, like in terms of food, shelter, safety.
Yep.
That's not that's not even that's so far down the list of things that we're
Yeah,
concerned with.
we in community schools we use. I mean, we talk about tier supports. I watched the one. I was there when I saw when you were with Taylor. Taylor's a good friend of mine, and she mentioned tier supports.
Yeah.
Community schools we operate in 3 tiers. Tier 3 is school-wide needs. Tier 2 are small group, collaborative needs, and then tier 3 are the individual support needs. And all those needs come from us basically playing Scooby-Doo and investigating in the school. What are the school needs? What's lacking in the school? We do a basic needs assessment, a school needs assessment for the school, figure out what are the needs there. And then with the case managed kids that we work with, we do a basic needs assessment. Keyword, basic needs. We need, as a humans, we need water, we need food, and we need shelter. We kind of align the supports that we want to help our students in. So it's like, do they have shelter? So for shelter, where are they living? Are they McKinney Vito kids, or are they worried about paying the rent, or well, the parents worried about paying rent or mortgage? Food, do they have food at home? Are they eating in school, or what are things that we can align with? Water, I mean, paying a water bill, including all that kind of stuff in the sense of belonging.
Right. And have you guys, when it comes to like dental and medical, do you have doctors or dentists that come into the school that do work, or do you send people into other like community hubs or centers of those types of services and mental health and therapy services as well?
Yes, both. Yes, on everything. Some of our schools, our middle schools sites actually have, with a partnership with OnTrack, United Way, Prisma Health, they have an in-school nurse practitioner that comes to visit the school once a week or every other week to provide that one-on-one care. The only thing that families have to do is make sure that they sign the consent forms, making sure that they are legally able to assist those students. And they do incredible work to even provide free physicals for the students who are planning to play sports. Now, at the high school level, we don't have that kind of luxury. We're trying to work on providing a school nurse practitioner in the school, so that'll make the other stuff a little bit easier. But we do refer our kids and their families to free health care, free dental care. Like it's in a way, it's like we have to weave through all and help each other out. So if I get wind that, oh, this dentist is providing free checkups for their teeth for students who happen to go to these schools. All right, I'm gonna let my site coordinator at community school, other site coordinators at community schools know. I'm gonna let the school know, because I don't just want to serve my kids. I also want to serve the whole school, and let the parent liaison know, let the social workers know. We try to collaborate as much as possible, because one thing that I personally don't like is that, and I've seen this happen, is that a lot of organizations try to reinvent the wheel. Why not collaborate and put all our wheels together to make this car that's going to transport this kid to success roll?
Right. How do you determine? I imagine there's just a lot of needs, and you don't have an unlimited budget and unlimited resources. So is there sort of like, I think of almost like a hospital with triage, you've got this emergency room with people with all kinds of issues and trying to figure out who are the doctors going to see first. Is there a system that's in place in terms of how do you determine who gets what resources? Is there is just everybody in that school get it, and it's just equal access, first come first serve? I mean, how do you do that? It seems like that would be a very challenging thing to sort through.
It sounds challenging, but it's just collaboration. It's clear communication, direct communication with all the stakeholders at the school, from talking with the parent, just meeting together, collaborating with each other. Taylor mentioned the EWS meetings, so that's the on-track facilitator. That is at times the school counselor, the social worker, the mental health facilitator, the parent liaison, the principal, admin, collaborating with each other and basically talk about the students. Okay, this student is flagging for attendance, behavior, coursework. What is the underlying root cause of the student not being in school, behaving? All right, well, we're talking with the parent, they're going through this issue at home with, the teacher could also say, it's like, well, they don't eat lunch, they do, and that kind of leads into this behavior. Or maybe the student is actually working long hours at work to provide for their family. So maybe let's talk with the student, and that's where we kind of designate a sponsor, a champion to that student, whether it be me as the community school specialist, the on-track facilitator, or even the principal has gone up above and meet with these students one-on-one and ask them, hey man, like, what's going on? Because this is not who you are as a person. I know you're greater than this. What's going on at home? Are you eating? Do you have a ride to school? How's your mama? How's your grandma? All that kind of stuff. And the students can feel the honesty from us because we built those relationships with them, that they start opening up to us. Well, I was working at the chicken factory at the night graveyard shift, and I felt embarrassed showing up to school smelling like chicken. So I took an extra 2 hours to shower. And then came late to school. My ride couldn't pick me up, so I walked to school. Okay, cool. Underlying cause. Let's see what we can do to help out. Maybe let's see if the kid's going to be at school because he doesn't have a ride. Is there a bus stop nearby that we can give this kid a bus voucher so they can attend the school? Or if they need rental assistance, hey, I heard this student needs rental assistance. What resources are out there? Perfect. I know who to contact. Let me contact my friend at Infinite Possibilities and let them know, hey, I have this student who's worried about rental. Like, is there what we can do? Can you come to the school? Can you meet with the parent? I'll contact the parent so we can have that meeting. Basically, it's just a teamwork, man. It really is. It's phenomenal. And when you have that clear communication within a school, you start seeing such a positive school climate where everybody wants to help each other out. In community schools, one of our philosophies is, well, one of our missions is to target 10% of the school population. Why 10%? Because those 10% kids, and all of us have like about 50 kids in our caseload, but those 50 kids, if we help them out and align and guide them and help and just pour with them self-confidence, self-awareness, letting them through the social emotional learning, like how to regulate your emotions, those kids are going to tell their friends or catch their friends, like when they're misbehaving or not doing it, like, hey, why aren't you coming to class? Hey, why don't you do this? Like, hey man, like that's not the way you are. We're planting seeds into these students so they can flourish and send the positive energy, positive outcomes to them. I mean, perfect example. Today I had a student who he's a sophomore. He came in there really mad at the world because 4 other students in the same class were talking bad about him or talking S about him. And he's like, I'm going to fight these guys. I told him to meet me at the parking lot, yada, yada, yada. And I had 2 juniors who I've known since they were in 7th grade in the middle school. And I coached them in soccer. And they looked at me and was like, bro, is your life in danger? No. You know why they're talking smack? You know why they're talking all this stuff? Because you have something they want. He's like, what do I have? Like, I was like, you don't see it, but they do. Or they're talking smack because they're talking behind your back because they're behind you. You really gonna let these kids talk like the words get to you? And you start seeing the kid going from here to level 10, slowly going to level 7, slowly going to level 5, to the point where the kid's like, I acted very dumb. I should have not said that. I'm just gonna go home.
Right.
That's the 10%. That's all the caring and relationship building, the social emotional, the being present, flourishing within our students.
Mm. What's the most fulfilling part of the work that you do? I mean, how long have you been doing it, and like, what do you find to be the most consistently fulfilling part of it?
Man, this will be my fifth year with community schools. I was lucky enough to be contracted by them straight out of college. Um, and first of all, I really want to publicly say I really acknowledge and appreciate the fact they believed in me
Mm.
at that young of an age to case manage a bunch of other middle school kids. Um, the the kids who are seniors now were my first cohort kids when I started with the eighth graders. So seeing how, and I always tell them all the time, you remember how you were in middle school? You remember when you were in eighth grade and you told me to F off, or that you're gonna make me quit my job and all that stuff, and I told you no. I believe there's something in you that I know you're gonna do something. Like, I know your situation sucks, but you're gonna do incredible things. You're gonna achieve your goals. You're gonna do this and all that stuff. And you told me I was full of it. Look at where you're at now. And they're like, yeah, I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, like, that's the fulfilling part. Seeing them grow from not believing in themselves, not believing that they could achieve something, like going from a student going from F to D and being proud of that and elevating them and championing them and letting them know, cool, you did that, go for a C. Cool, you did that, go for a B. Cool, you did that. You're thinking about going to college now? Let's talk about that. Oh, you don't want to go to college, but you want to go to the workforce? Let's talk about trade school. And then, oh, you don't believe in yourself? That's fine. I'm not going to force anything on you. Month later, coach, I think I want to do this. Can you help me out? Them believing in themselves to achieve more and want more in life, that's very fulfilling.
Yeah, I think that's the thing about being a teacher. Having been in the classroom for 15 years, I would resonate with what you're saying is helping another human being see the potential in themselves and helping them connect to the resources, and some of them are just inside, connect to the resources and to them, the deeper part of themselves, to help them realize that they can achieve the things that they want to achieve. And it doesn't have to be about me dictating and like creating the dream for them. It's just about facilitating a mindset of wanting more, reaching for more. And that doesn't necessarily have to be a materialistic thing, like then not wealth, but just wanting more out of life, wanting meaning, wanting to have a career or to align their lives in ways that are meaningful. And so I appreciate that human to human connection is, to me, the most powerful part of being an educator. And I think that's why people go into teaching. And unfortunately, you've got just some people who stand in the way of that work. And that's why we're losing a lot.
I always think about it this way too. I mean, we've all, as kids, we have always had someone that impacted our lives in the school. For me, it was the janitors, because they look like me, and would always just like cared about me. So, and then like that later went on with my coaches and my teachers and all. But it doesn't take a day, and I think we forget that as humans, as facilitators, as educators, as people in this society, because society wants us to be, if the results aren't shown by tomorrow, then it's not working. This is generational growth. It takes a while for anyone. I mean, if you're thinking about working out, you're not going to get a six-pack in doing 10-minute abs. You're not going to lose weight by just stopping drinking soda and eating donuts. No, it's going to take a little while. Most of the time, it takes about a month to 3 months for those students to actually start seeing that change and believing in themselves. And then when I talk to my coworkers who are teachers, and they come to me and tell me, man, this student was doing this and said this and told me this and all that stuff, I like to remind them, it's like, look, they care about you. Believe it or not. No, they don't. It's like, believe it or not, they care about you. Why do you say that? Because the days you're not here, the days you're sick, the first question they ask is, where's Mr. So-and-so? Where's Mrs. So-and-so? They may not show it to you because that's the environment they grew up in. They hold that stuff in there. They show their appreciation and love through a little bit of a smack talking and making you feel bad. But they miss you. They love you. They care about you. And you're not going to see it until they get older and they actually learn how to relegate these emotions and come up to you and say, hey, I know I was a piece of work back in my first year here, but thank you for being someone who believed in me. Yeah. I really want to say that and make that really clear with our educators. Like, your students really do care about you. They really do. Just because they are being pieces of work one day, that's how they show love, unfortunately. But let's try and break that cycle. Be present every single day. Show up, be committed, be dedicated. Yeah. Be that person, be that caring adult, because they're so used of having adults walking in and out of their lives that you are the most stable adult for that kid at that moment.
I really loved when you talked earlier about the activities that were going on at the school with celebrating Hispanic cultures and them sort of being able to recognize their flag and the country they were from. And one of the things that's always been important to me is in terms of, I spent a lot of years working to help recruit and retain teachers, and the importance of representation and making sure that all students have people in their lives when they enter the building that, where they feel represented by the faculty and the staff at the school. But if you're someone like me, I'm not Hispanic, but I'm going to teach at a school and I've got Hispanic students, what advice would you give for educators? What are some of the top things that we can do to ensure that those students feel welcome, that they feel seen, and that they feel respected, and that they feel comfortable being who they are? What are some specific things that we can do to create better atmospheres that are more conducive to their success?
It's a lot simpler. I know it's very kind of intimidating when you get put in a position where you don't look like the majority. But if you invest into that culture, if you invest into what they like and believe in, or there's three things that majority flows well with all cultures: food, music, and art. Everybody has a dish that they love, that they want to eat, that it reminds them of grandma's cooking or mom was cooking. Everybody has music that they like to move to a beat to, that reminds them of home. And everybody has, whether it be physical paintings, drawings, or shows on TV, that's art. If you can relate with your students and go down and be like, hey, invest your time into it. So with Hispanic, what I tell my African-American teachers, the school that you work in, predominantly Hispanic, guess what's around this community? A lot of really great Hispanic food. There's taco trucks, and there's 10 taco trucks in a half a mile. These kids are going down there to eat those taco trucks. Go out there and eat those. Go in there and be like, can I get dos tacos de pastor and dos tacos de asada? Try the salsas. And then when you come back to the school, you tell the students, hey, have you guys been to Don Chile's over there by West Blue Ridge? The kids were like, what you know about that, man? What do you know about that? It's like, oh, I tried this. I think I like salsa verde, then I like salsa roja. You are going down to their level and relating with them. Or what's Bad Bunny, one of the most popular artists, Hispanic artists right now. may not understand the lyrics, but guess what? I like the beat. I like this. Play the music, and the kids would be like, "Oh snap! I know this. I know this." Okay, and it's like, "Yeah, it's one of my favorite songs. I don't know what he's saying, but I like this."
Right.
Or the World Cup. A lot of our students are watching the World Cup right now. You don't have to like soccer, but embrace into the culture. Embrace it. I will like to shout out one of our teachers because he is as country as it is. I mean, he has that country deep voice, and he talks about it all the time. But what he does with his students, like Hispanic students, he like catches me in the hall. And he's like, "Coach, I don't understand what they're saying. I'm trying to talk to them in Spanish." I'm like, "Dude, you're a big country, and you're talking to these students, trying to speak to them in Spanish, and the students are like, want to be around you because you're trying. All you gotta say is hola, cómo estás?" And then once they start talking a little bit fast, I was like, all right, I'm learning. Chill out. I'm trying to learn.
Right.
That's the investment, the return on investment, as they say in finance, like the return on investment. Invest into your students, invest into their culture, and you're going to see the return. Because within the Hispanic community, and that just goes along with any other culture, if I don't trust you, I'm not going to want to be around you. How do you gain that trust? Ask me about myself. Ask me about my culture. Embracing that, and then I'll be like, okay, you're cool enough for me to talk to. Let's talk. Or you're cool enough for me to be like, let's engage some conversation. And that just works well with the students.
That's such good advice. I think it's so much is about seeing me for who I am and showing me respect for who I am. And then that way, then it can be given in return. But I think sometimes the way it's approached, it's like, well, I'm here. I'm here in South Carolina. This is my culture. I'm like, why aren't you coming and doing things our way? Talking our way, liking the things we like. It's like there can be that mindset of like, I don't know if what that would be called, Eurocentrism or whatever it is, where it's like, you've got to come meet me, and then we can have a relationship. And I love what you're saying, which is it's like about saying, I want to get to know you. I'm curious about you. I want to know about your culture. I want to know about the music, the food, and everything, because I care about you as a person, and I'm curious about you, and I want to show you that respect. And I think that's such good advice, and educators can really benefit from that, help develop those deeper relationships. And that's what really can help with, in terms of student behavior and inspiring students and getting them on board with what you're trying to do in the classroom. So I think it's great advice.
We are more related and similar than we are different. There is this one comedian, I saw this on social media, where he basically told Hispanics, like, hey, Hispanics, watch out, because we have our own rednecks too, which is true. Like in Mexican culture, we have our own version of country music. We have our own version of barbecue. We have our own version of other things that is similar to the American country style. Like we care about family, we care about our religion, we care about all that kind of stuff. Well, the only difference is that there's a language difference. If we can set that aside and actually relate and come in and connect with each other, it goes back to being a human being. Just me, I'm gonna let my guard down. I'm willing to listen to you and hear from where you come from. Cool. I respected that. Now, are you willing to respect me opening up and letting you know, hey, this is also where I come from. I also agree with you. What you believe in this. This is the thing that's different about it. My upbringing than yours. I'm not asking you to be my friend, but I'm asking you to treat me like a human being, just how I'm treating you like a human being.
Yeah. What's something we haven't talked about yet that you wanted to mention? Is there anything that you want to talk about? Anything coming up with communities and schools or projects or anything that you'd like to promote, or subjects we haven't discussed yet that you want to mention?
If your school has a community school site coordinator, or if it's planning to have one thing that is always a challenge with us is that we are perceived as the people who are going to take the teacher's jobs or the counselor's job, or the kids care more about than them. Community schools, the site coordinator there is your friend. It's someone who wants to help you out, because we're not teachers. You are the teacher. I want to help you teach. I want to help you that you can teach and educate these students. But if you have a student who is not cooperating, instead of trying to poke the bear, maybe refer them to another resource and let them get that out so they can come back and teach. If you're lucky enough to have a psych coordinator, a community school psych coordinator, refer those students or let your psych coordinator know, hey, I have this student here. I know that something's going on. Can you help me out? Or let me know what can I do to help out? Same thing, if you don't have a community school psych coordinator, talk to the mental health specialist, talk to the guidance counselor, or you be that advocate for that student, because that's what our students are seeking. They're seeking advocates. They're seeking champions.
Mm.
You don't have to be a mentor. No, I don't think there's a perfect mentor out there, just like how there's no perfect parents, but you learn to be a better mentor. You learn to be a better parent. You learn to be a better human being. It takes hard work, but nothing in life comes easy.
Yeah. Well, Jose, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate your time. And I just want to say how much I respect the work you're doing and appreciate the work you're doing. It's hard work. You know, it's like we get involved in this work because we're seeing other humans with needs and we're doing our best to meet them, reduce people's suffering, try to increase people's success and happiness. And so the work that you're doing, and I know that EJ does and TJ does, and so many people in the upstate are doing, is such profoundly good work, and it's good service to other people. So thank you for what you do. Thank you for what you do to support students and educators in your community. And if there's anything that we can do to support your work or continue to help you promote it, let us know. And hopefully I'll be up in Greenville, I'm sure, quite a bit over the next year. And hopefully we can get together and you can take me out to one of those restaurants that you mentioned. And
oh man. First thing, thank you so much for this opportunity and time and space. I really appreciate it. Second, thank you all the teachers. I really want to let all the teachers know and all educators and everybody, whether you're in pre to higher education, thank you for all the work that you guys done and are doing. Please take time to relax and enjoy your vacation, enjoy your time with your family. Get ready because those kids they look up to you and you're incredible. We love the work that you guys do. And then third, man, let me know when you're up in Greenville. I know some great places that I would love to introduce you to.
That'd be great. I will definitely reach out the next time I'm heading up that way. And maybe we can get together, EJ and TJ. So, all right. Awesome. Hang out backstage. I'll be right back. I'm just going to close out and I'll be right back. Okay.
Beautiful.
All right, thanks. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Jose Morales-Martinez. Just want to thank him, thank communities and schools for all the work they do. Thank Melanie Bollinger for recommending to bring him on. Wonderful work that he's doing. If you're interested in connecting with us at the SCEA, you can go to the scea.org/connect. All that is an information survey form. Doesn't obligate you to anything. Just helps us get connected with you. If you are interested in joining the SCEA, you can see the link at the bottom of the screen. It says join the scea.org, or you can text the word 48744. To the word join to 48744. You can also text the word Berkeley to 48744 if you're interested in helping us take action on the situation down in Berkeley County. And again, I want to shout out to all the educators and to the Berkeley County Education Association for their great work at the board meeting this week, and thank them and just let them know that we stand in solidarity with them. If you're interested in watching the full length version of this interview tonight and all the interviews that we do, you can go to cool.us at cewl.us. We'll have this interview with Jose on there within the next few days. We invite you to go to that. And then coming up, we have our next live stream is going to be held next, I think that's Tuesday, December 20th from 7 to 8 o'clock. We're going to be talking to Amy Strong about protecting trans youth, a very, very important subject in today's climate. So we hope that you guys will join us next week for that. But as Jose said, I hope you guys have a wonderful break, a wonderful time with your family and friends, celebrating whatever holidays you celebrate, just getting some peace, some relaxation, some time away, recharging for what is sure to be a wonderful 2023. And we hope that you will join us at the SCEA in making it a great year for educators and all students. Thanks again to José Morales-Martinez. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next live stream. Take care.